The Galaxy S26 lineup is shaping up to be quite different from what we've seen in past years. Instead of the usual 3 models, Samsung is now expected to launch for phones early next year. The Galaxy S26 Edge is rumored to replace both the S25 Plus and the S25 Edge, while a new Galaxy S26 Pro may take the place of the standard model, but with a twist. It's not just a name change, because there are real changes happening inside these phones. Let's start with the more positive side of this latest report, the Galaxy S26 Pro. According to a trusted source, the S26 Pro is expected to come with a rated battery capacity of 4,175 mAh, which would be officially marketed as 4,300 mAh. That's a noticeable upgrade from the Galaxy S25's 4,000 mAh battery. Now, that number might not blow anyone away, especially when compared to phones like the Oppo Reno 13 Pro, which has a massive 5,800 mAh battery. But for Samsung, this is a step forward. The extra 300 mAh might not seem like a big deal, but for users, it could mean a bit more screen-on time, better standby performance, and less battery anxiety throughout the day. What's unclear right now is whether Samsung will increase the screen size to match the new Pro branding. If it stays close to the 6.2-inch size of the Galaxy S25, this battery boost could be quite useful. However, if the display gets larger, that extra battery capacity may get used up quickly, and users might not notice a huge difference in real-world usage. Still, it's an interesting move from Samsung. This Pro model could sit between the base S26 and the Ultra, offering a balance of features, performance, and battery life. While it's too early to tell how the S26 Pro will perform in real life, things are looking promising so far. But let's shift to the slightly disappointing side of this report, the Galaxy S26 Edge. Earlier rumors suggested the Edge model would come with a 4,500 mAh battery. That would have been a huge jump from the S25 Edge's 3,900 mAh battery, especially considering how slim that phone was. However, the new leak claims that the S26 Edge will actually have a rated battery of 4,078 mAh, which will likely be advertised as 4,200 mAh, so not quite 4,500 mAh, but still a good improvement over last year's model. And if Samsung really manages to make the S26 Edge even slimmer than the already thin S25 Edge, then squeezing in a bigger battery is still impressive. Even though the final battery size might not live up to some of the more optimistic rumors, the S26 Edge could still be one of the most interesting phones in the lineup. In fact, despite the smaller battery, some leaks suggest it could bring notable upgrades in other areas, especially the rear cameras. While the S26 Pro is expected to stick with the same triple camera setup from the Galaxy S25, the S26 Edge might receive a much better ultra-wide-angle camera. If that turns out to be true, it could become a top pick for photography fans who also care about style and slim design. It's also worth remembering that Samsung might not be focusing only on battery upgrades for this generation. Charging technology, display refresh rates, AI features, and overall performance could all be improved. Earlier reports even mentioned that the S26 Ultra will get a modest boost in charging speed, though it's still unclear what the final charging specs will be for the other models. So what's the takeaway here? The Galaxy S26 Pro gives us hope for better battery life compared to the base model it replaces. At the same time, the S26 Edge may not have the battery boost we hoped for, but it's still getting a decent upgrade. And considering its rumored slimmer design and better cameras, it might still be worth watching closely. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S26 Ultra, which wasn't the focus of this report, is expected to keep the same 5,000 mAh battery as before. So in terms of battery changes, it's the Pro and Edge models stealing the spotlight this time around. According to all the reliable sources so far, Samsung is aiming for an early 2026 launch window for the entire Galaxy S26 series. So despite what some questionable leaks may have hinted in the past, it's unlikely that these phones will be available before the end of this year. Whether you're interested in the Pro, the Edge, or the Ultra, the S26 lineup is shaping up to bring something fresh to the table. It's still too early to make final judgments, but one thing's clear: Samsung is trying something different, and that alone makes this next launch worth paying attention to.